Good morning and welcome to Climate Capital Discussions. My name is Kevin Tang. I'm the co-GP of the Soho Global Climate Fund. And our goal is to bring to you some of the best insights from climate investing around the world. Today we have with us Max Han from Sopoong Ventures. Max, you can correct me later if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Very excited. He's from Korea, leading one of the leading impact accelerators and venture capital funds out of there. Max, welcome.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Thanks for having me today.
Great. Well, thanks for being here. I thought just a little bit of introduction about yourself. Max, where are you from and what's your background?
hmm Yeah. Great to be here and great to meet you again. And even thanks for having me these great opportunities to share our ideas and what's happening in Korea. And as you mentioned, we are doing actively in climate tech as an early stage investor. Actually, my name is Max Han, the CEO of Sopoong Ventures. Actually, before I start my career in venture capital industry, I was the serial entrepreneur. So I established three the organizations, including one nonprofit organization, and the two were a startup. So after that, I have my passion to help and promote the innovative ecosystem in Korea and Southeast Asia. So I grabbed the great chances and opportunities from strong support of many of LPs in Korea to solve the great social problems we are facing. So among the social problems, we have been highly focusing on climate tech. The climate crisis is kind of unprecedented the crisis the humanities are facing. So yeah, I'm working in that in this the sector
Great.
and yeah taking a
And
role as a leading investor.
great, thanks. And tell me a little bit about Sopoong. What's its history? Where did it start? And who are some of your co-founders?
Yeah, actually, Sopoong was established in 2008 as one of the first early stage investor in Korea. So since then, we have been investing.
2008, you said, right?
Yeah, 2008. Yeah.
Yeah,
So about, the 16 and 17 years ago.
yeah.
So it was quite early in Korea. So at that time, there were just few in venture capital in Korea, and actually my founder, actually, I'm a founder, but at the same time, I'm not a founder because uh, in 2008, the one of the most the successful entrepreneur in Korea started Sopoong Ventures. So at that time, we were like the family office
Ah,
and taking a role as a GP.
hmm.
And we had only one single LP because he was extremely successful in Korea. Actually, he was the founder of the Korean Google,
Oh, wow.
uh, yeah, named Daum. Actually, Daum was merged by Kakao several years ago
Yeah.
in Korea, and I was the portfolio of Sopoong Ventures at the time. I mean, as I said, I was a serial entrepreneur, so I received investment from Sopoong Ventures, and then I was proposed to join as the managing director of Sopoong Ventures, and then I joined, and the end of the 2019, I and several our partners did a management buyout.
Ah,
So since then, yeah, we started as totally independent venture capital with several LP. So yeah, I'm a founder of my current organization, but yeah, actually in our root, there were the successful entrepreneur
yeah.
who are yeah very respectful. So since then,
Hmm.
we have been investing over 150 portfolios. So
Wow.
among them, around the 60s climate-related technologies in energy, supply economy, and food and agri industries. And as an early stage investor, yeah, we have been highly focusing on support, the value add, and accelerating our portfolios. So in total, we were lucky to contribute to make one unicorn company, but
Mm.
about a year ago, they were enlisted. So currently, we don't have unicorns at this moment as a portfolio. They became the IPO company.
Yeah.
But we were very lucky to catch the great opportunities as a pioneer and the first mover in this sector and in whole Korean startup ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about investing in Korea and climate in Korea. What is the ecosystem like, and what are some of the
Mhm.
opportunities for
Mhm.
overseas investors thinking about investing in climate in Korea?
Yeah. Before we jump in the climate technologies, I would like to describe in general situation of Korean startup and uh, the exit market first.
Yeah.
You
Great.
know what? Korea is very special country, especially for the corporate evolvedness and the market situation. For example, last year, the Korea IPO market hit the record for last 25 years with the number of the newly IPO cases.
Wow.
We had, yeah, over 150 new IPO cases last year. That means we have still very strong exit market, and it is good for startup founder and venture capital. So in that background, uh, we have very strong support from our government, and even there is a one very specific the grant supporting program from our government named TIPS. So we called it TIPS, is standing for technology incubator programs.
Mm.
So in that program, uh, we our portfolios will receive around 400K USD as grant from our government when I mean, as a venture capital, uh, invest in 100K USD.
That's
So
fantastic.
to give this kind of the grant matching amount, we need a special license from our government. So the Sopoong Ventures hold several licenses from our government to supporting this kind of the grant matching. So in a year, we are having around 15 ticket. So among 15 ticket, 2 to 3 tickets are including over 1 million USD grant matching. So with that, we can support the longer runways for our portfolio without any dilution of
Fantastic.
their ownership. Yeah. So that kind of things happening in Korea. And even in total VC market, the government indirect inflow as a LP takes at least 30%. So
Can you
among
repeat
that,
that, please, Max?
yeah,
The government, say that one more time.
yeah, I mean, the government takes a key role in LP
Mhm.
market for venture capital. So they are very uh, active to support the secondary fund. So in a year, the government set at least 1 billion 1 billion USD amount as a secondary fund to promote a startup ecosystem. So with that, uh, we can have strong exit market. That's why
That's great,
we
actually.
yeah, that's why we already have over 25 exit cases, and last year even we had 5 exit cases.
And that
So
is because the government is so committed to building the
Yeah,
entrepreneurial ecosystem, right?
that's right. That's right. So
And
that's
it's not just the
happening.
climate, actually, it's the overall entrepreneur.
That is the overall situation. So, okay, let's focus more on the climate tech. As you know, the Korea is a well-known country as the climate villain because we are the last country in OECD as the renewable energy rate in total energy mix. So you know what? Actually, I was in the Vietnam yesterday. The in Vietnam energy mix, the renewable energy takes over 35% already. It's global, top rate.
Yeah.
In Korea, we only have 7% of renewable energy
Oh, that's
rate.
low.
Yeah, very low. But our government eventually announced they will raise this number to 21% by 2030. We only have 7 years. And in 7 years, we will have three times, a bigger market in energy industries.
Yeah.
So like that, uh, to meet the global standard and the regulations, and already our government announced the NDC goals, and that is very bold and ambitious. So that's why eventually last month our government announced the Korean version of IRA,
Hmm.
so which is amount to 350 billion USD by 2030. So with that, the Korean climate tech market will be bigger than before. So even uh, as of the first half of 2023, the major venture capital firm in South Korea have accumulated uh, approximately 10 billion USD in dry powder.
Hmm.
So we have enough dry powder, and I can see the clear intention and the clear movement and the trend in climate-related policies. So the Korean climate tech market is growing. Even, in Korean the industries, we have the many of the global players, I mean, big names such as Samsung, Hyundai, SK.
Hmm. Yeah.
With that, I think the most of the Korean industries are facing the huge challenges from the climate crisis and the global regulators. So even big names in Korea
Yeah.
started to support the climate tech utilizing CVC.
Yep.
So it's growing fast. So you should come Korea. Yeah.
I mean, these are really good. You talk, I mean, the insights you shared about the government supporting it, one in funding, but also in building out the ecosystem, and then talking about how the corporates are getting on board too. What do you
Yeah.
think has shifted this mentality in Korea in the last 10 years to really drive climate and sustainability and impact?
Yeah. Thanks for the great question. Actually, I'm a member of the Presidential Commission on Carbon Neutrality from the private sector. So
Wow.
I can see the policy trend from the top levels of the Korean the government. So I'm very confident in that the I mean their clear intention to hold the great opportunities in the climate-related technologies and the future market to tackling the climate crisis. But we are still facing the regulatory uncertainties and geopolitical risks and the market volatility, including the high market interest. So uh, I would like to be exaggerating, uh, but at the same time, I can see the significant opportunities lie in the rapid growth of renewable energy infrastructure, energy efficiency technologies, and carbon capture solutions in Korea and even, yeah, in the Southeast Asia. So as I said, the renewable energy rate is so low, and our government already announced they will raise this number at least 3 times compared to the current number. And in terms of the EV, in Korea, we have 400,000 EVs at this moment.
Okay,
And
that's
our
not very
government,
many actually.
yeah, and our government, yeah, announced they will raise this number until 2030 to the 4.5 million vehicles on the road.
It's a bold goal.
Yes, very bold. That's why they set, they already, announced and that set the Korean version of the IRA.
Yeah,
So I think, yeah, there are huge opportunities already, and even in frankly speaking, we don't have unicorn companies in the climate tech at this moment.
yeah,
But uh, in my mind, already over 10 startups are preparing the IPO in this year. And among them, three is our portfolio.
wow.
So yeah, I am very, yes, confident in that.
Fantastic. And congratulations on having such a terrific track record and run so far. Let's talk a little,
Thank you.
yeah, let's talk a little bit about deal flow and how you identify companies. What is your process? What are the kind of thematic areas that you look at, and what is your
Ah,
process?
yeah, oh, yeah, great question. Actually, we use a mix the proprietary data analysis, strategic partnership with the local partners, and the top levels of the Korean universities, such as Seoul National University and KAIST. And last but not least is that a deep understanding of industry trend to find unique investment opportunities.
Yeah,
For example, in 2023, I mean last year, we invest in around 25 new investment cases. Among them, 15 was the climate related. Uh, we have been investing in grid technologies like the grid forming and the virtual power plant, battery solutions. So we already have several portfolios in that sector. So we haven't regularly shares what's going on in this market and what kind of regulations and the policy will be deployed in the near future. So we would like to
right,
grab uh, the, the, the opportunities a little bit earlier than the market. So that is kind of, yeah, our approach. So even, in terms of the climate sector, uh, the mitigation, I mean, the low carbon technologies are crucial to meet the net zero goals and eventually the selling and the deploying their technologies in the market. So we have been setting the three main pillar in our climate investment
mm,
strategies,
right,
which are energy, circular economy, and agri-food. So those three tech sectors are considering as the most the greenhouse gas emission industries account for 81%.
yeah,
So yeah, in general, over 70% of the carbon dioxide emitted from the energy sector. So definitely, we analyze the carbon and the greenhouse gas emissions and climate tech related patent trend in the market, and we would like to connect the current investment trend and the gap of that patent.
Hmm.
So based on that approach, we would like to grab, as I said, uh, the opportunities a little bit earlier. So with that, yeah,
Yeah.
at this moment, yeah, it is working well. So, you know, in the market terms in venture capital, we have two approaches. I mean, we are deploying a thematic, you know, based approach as a climate tech, such as energy, circular economy, and the
Yep.
food and agri. So in that each the theme, we have an approach that is based. So we have a mixed approach at the same time. So to analyze each the theme, we draw the whole value chains by ourselves, and decoupling of each stage of value chains, and research who is the major player, and
Sure.
how is the market, I mean, how is the patent trend, and then we decide which stage and which phase of in total value chains should be our priority.
That's fantastic. And look, the value chain is very complex. You need to have really deep knowledge, both subject matter and geographic knowledge of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you previously, when we spoke, you had mentioned about how Sopoong is really looking outside of Korea now as well. Can you tell us a little bit about which geographies you're excited about, and why you're looking there and how you're tackling that opportunity?
Yeah. Actually, we were started in Korea, and 90% of our whole portfolios are based in Seoul and Korea.
Yeah.
So that means only 10% of our whole portfolios, the number is around the 15, are located in out of the Korea. And uh, in the world, definitely Southeast Asia is our number one region we have been focusing on out of Korea. So among them, the Singapore and the Vietnam are our mainly focusing region.
Hmm.
I mean, uh, in the climate crisis, without any kind of industrial transition in the developing countries, we cannot meet that goal. Even, Southeast Asian region is considered a high rate of the GDP growth.
Yeah.
And in terms of the market perspective, there the democratic, I mean, the average age of total population is
The
very young.
demographic, right? Yeah.
Yeah, demographic. Yeah. So I can see the future opportunities compared to the Korea. As I said, we have very strong market background and the industrial facilities and infrastructure in Korea,
Yeah.
but we are getting old. But Southeast Asia has the young generation and the enough population to support the whole the industries. That's why, yeah, we started to focusing on Southeast Asia. And in terms of the climate tech, as I said, they have so many factories for exporting with the low uh, level of the wages.
Okay.
So to export those the manufacturing products in developing countries to the developed country, they need to be the net zero. I mean, they need to prepare global regulations such as the RE 100.
Yeah.
So when I visit any places in the Southeast Asia, most of entrepreneur and the regulators they mentioned about the environment related regulations and what they are preparing to meet the global standard in terms of the climate crisis.
Hmm,
So I can see in 3 to 5 years there will be a huge the industrial transition from the manufacturing sites and the industries. So we would like to grab that opportunities. And that let me add just one more thing.
sure.
Actually, we have several portfolios in Singapore, but the Singapore is not a big country.
Right.
So we don't think Singapore is uh, on a market. Singapore is kind of test bed and uh, POC pilot uh, cases
Yeah.
place. So Singapore can take a key role to promote and boost the climate tech and supporting the places for those innovative technologies.
Right.
But the other Southeast Asian countries should be at the market.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting to hear you talk about the transition from manufacturing to industry and then the demographic trend happening in Southeast Asia, and how this all dovetails with the climate thesis. I think that is really relevant. Climate issues in Southeast Asia, you know, I'm from there, and our fund has an office in Singapore, so
Yeah.
it's very salient, and also it really resonates with with what we're seeing on the ground as well. I did have a question though. What what drove you to Vietnam and Singapore first? It sounds like those are kind of your priorities right now. What
Mhm.
are the other countries? Which of the other Southeast Asian countries are you looking at? What's,
Mhm.
what's on the horizon for you?
Yeah, there are many countries in Southeast Asia, so we have been s- research and reviewing the several market, including Indonesia, Malaysia. Actually, we'd like to approach China and India, but uh, at this moment, as I feel, the China and India has totally independent ecosystem.
Yeah, sure.
So even there are many of the uncertainty in the regulation and the policy. So we are a little bit hesitating to expand our regional coverage into those two countries.
Right.
So uh, definitely the Vietnam, Singapore, and then the Indonesia and the Malaysia should be next. So even Malaysia has uh, enough population to hold their own industrial background. And definitely, in Indonesia has the biggest and the strongest IPO market in the Southeast Asia, and they have huge number of the population, maybe similar to the States.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are considering to
They're on
invest
your
in,
radar.
but at this moment, we have portfolios in Vietnam, Singapore, and New Zealand.
New
Yeah,
Zealand,
yeah, Laos, one in Laos, at
one
the
in Laos.
moment. Yeah.
So,
And the others are in the States and Israel.
right, right. Israel and the U.S., right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You have a very global portfolio, though it is very concentrated on Korea, where your expertise is. Fantastic. Um, I do want to ask a very important question for people that we work with. What is your target investment return, and
Yeah.
what have you seen in the past? And just being very clear about your investment thesis and your return targets.
Wow. Thanks for the crucial question for venture capital. Uh, As I said, luckily we could hold great opportunities in the market. Before we have been focusing on climate tech, our main theme and the industry was the sharing economy.
Sharing
So
economy.
yeah. So we still hold several the number one sharing economy related platform service in Korea, including car sharing, uh, crowdfunding. So at this moment, our gross IRR is around 44%. So it is quite high numbers in Korea. But our the target IRR is over 20%. That is our target. But it
Gross
depends.
IRR.
It depends on the fund. As I said, our government takes at least 30% of direct inflow to the VC fund. So even we already received the several times of investment from our government.
Right,
So
right.
the
It's
government support,
fantastic to help support that ecosystem, right?
yeah, exactly. And
And the key point being that your fund is not targeting sub-market returns. It's not concessionary, right?
yeah. But it depends on the fund. I mean,
Sure,
uh, government related fund, our target IRR is around 15%.
sure, yeah. And that's
But we have three fund totally independent. I mean, funded by 100% the private sector. So in those funds, our target IRR is 20 to 25%. It's above the market returns.
right.
So it depends on our fund structure, and each fund has the different LP constitution.
Sure, right.
So
But it's great to hear that uh, with your fund and funds in the past, that you haven't had to be sub-market unless there's a very specific reason to do so.
thanks for having me today. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The other question I think that we get a lot of is what are you seeing or what are you doing in terms of measuring and reporting your impact?
Wow. Yeah. The measuring and assessment and the verifying is always challenging for us.
Yeah,
Actually, we have our own structure to explain and to show the real social impact as our impact uh, measurement process.
hmm,
So we are combining the UN SDGs and the IMP
okay,
uh, structure
yeah,
to explain our portfolio's the social impact, and the regularly we have been publishing our own impact report.
great,
So even we published our climate impact report months ago. So to give the guidelines and help the assessment and measure the social impact and the climate impact of our portfolios, we developed our own uh, framework.
yeah.
But
You're
as I said,
in-house.
in-house. So actually, we are an early stage investor. So in the early stage of startup, it is quite challenging to analyze and persuade uh, the quantitatively uh, their social impact.
Sure,
So in
very
that
hard.
case, our framework uh, help them explain qualitatively their social impact with our guidelines. So it's only 2 pages, the framework. So we are happy, even it is 2 pages, but many of entrepreneurs have difficulties to finish this paper by themselves. So we are sending our staffs to help them explain their social impact with the number and the stories. So, in my personal experience, the successful entrepreneurs were very good storyteller, and most of them have a good narrative for their social mission
Yeah.
and their business approach to persuade the society and their customers.
Mm.
So we are helping to uh, make their own impact report with our framework. And in that framework, UN SDGs and the IMMP is the major the method.
Yeah.
Those are the global standard and the minimums, as I feel. And for third party the verifications, we are proposing and we are recommending several the third party verification agencies, but it depends on our portfolios because
Right.
those the cost are a little bit high in Korea.
Yeah.
So in sometimes we are providing third party verifications with the government support,
Mm.
but in sometimes when our portfolio is uh, uh, becoming the bigger size, I mean, in their the Series B or Series C funding round, they are doing by themselves with their own budget.
Right.
So we are supporting with our own framework for early stage startups and then connect them to the third party, yeah, verifying the agencies.
Great. I love that you've done your own framework. It's
Yeah,
customized
so
and
yeah,
it uses IMP and UNSDGs as a baseline. That's fantastic.
yeah.
Are you planning to open source that at any point to share it?
Of course, but yeah, the first I should translate into English. Yeah, those reports are Korean language based. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can share you at this moment, but most of them,
When you're ready, I definitely think it's something that the world needs to hear about because
yeah,
uh,
of course,
the
yeah,
trend is to get more measurement and impact done, but there are obviously challenges with that.
great, yeah.
What, one of the last few questions I wanted to ask is maybe could you describe a really exciting investment that you've done in the past that kind of gives us a sense that's an example of what your deal flow is like?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I waited at those. Yeah. I mean that question because we have very good portfolios. I mean very promising portfolios in several industries in energy, circular economy, and food and agri. So among our the 60 portfolios in the climate tech. Let me introduce several in energy first. So, uh, uh, I think you definitely familiar with the virtual power plant.
Yeah.
So in Korea, we have over 300,000 small size renewable energy power plant in whole landfill.
Wow.
So aggregate all the data and show how much electricity will be produced in real time. So our portfolios named 60 Hertz are providing to collect and show the real time-based electricity yield production for our government and each power plant. So their major partners and customers are Hyundai Motors.
Yeah.
Even Hyundai Motors a major shareholder of these portfolios. Actually, we were the first investor of this company, and then Hyundai lead the several rounds of the investment.
Yeah.
And the Hyundai's goal is to realize and dominate the future of the energy grid. I mean, definitely our energy power grid system will be connected with V2G,
Yeah.
vehicles to grid. So is preparing that future. So our portfolios are key players and key partners of Hyundai Motors at this moment because they are dealing with whole power generating datas with AI algorithm. And even, in Korea, we have very strong the battery industries. You know,
Yeah.
except China, the Korea's batteries are the biggest one. So
Battery system, right?
that means we have a very good value chains in making batteries. So we already have several portfolios in BMS, I mean battery management systems.
Yeah.
You know, we as I know, uh, even big uh, battery manufacturers cannot explain 100% exactly why there are explosion of the batteries. Yeah, they are trying to explain, but they cannot track 100%. So one of our portfolios named uh, ABT are creating PMS solution. Actually, the founder was uh, the well-known professionals in the Korean Power Agency,
Mm.
and he was the auditor for whole ESS system. So when the explosion happened, he was almost only one auditor for whole site.
Wow.
So with his the great background, he started his own the startups end of last year. Yeah, definitely we became his the first investor,
Yeah.
and already the the big names such as the LG
Yeah.
and the GS wanted to work with him, and even they wanted to become the second round investor. So that is happening in Korea. Let me add just one more thing
Sure.
related to the batteries. You know, uh, there will be uh, huge tons of reused, I mean, the wasted the batteries soon.
Sure. Battery recycling then is a big
You're
business.
right, you're right, you're right. In Korea, I guess similar things happening in the world. I mean, in Korea, when we recycle the berries, I mean, almost 100% of works are manual. I mean, human labors cut the berries and release the bolt and nut. In sometimes it is very dangerous
Okay.
and cost intensive works. So our portfolios are making AI robotics, to cut and to open the batteries without any kind of damages to the human. So they
And
already started their POC work in major players in the battery industries
yeah.
of Korean players.
And what do you think is the opportunity for some of this up and coming Korean technology to,
Mhm.
a few years from now be adopted in other countries?
Oh, wow. Thank you for that question. Uh, I'm a Korean, so I have a little bit prejudice about the Korean, but I I can say that Korean technology is the global top, as I feel.
Mm.
That's why we have a big names in the many of the industries. But the major obstacle to be the global startup for the local startup is the language barrier
Sure.
and their global mind.
The global.
Actually, global mind. I mean,
Global
their
mindset.
global
Yeah.
insight. Yeah. Actually, as I said, we have very strong IPO market and the secondary market. So many of our the entrepreneurs just aiming to be enlisted.
Ah,
It is relatively easy to be enlisted, yeah, compared to expanding their business out of Korea and becoming unicorn companies
mm,
in the States or in Southeast Asia or the Europe.
yeah.
So I have many of the potential, especially in the advanced level of technologies in Korea. What a good thing is that our government started to open their definition for supporting startups uh, with their own budget. I mean, until last year, uh, the Korean startup means founded by our government, according to our government. But from this year, eventually our government changed that definition. So the major shareholder, if the major shareholders are Koreans in specific startup,
Yeah.
that startup can be considered as Korean startup. So in that case, that startup can receive the grant matching or supporting from our government.
Yeah.
That means our government and our whole the startup ecosystems eventually changed their mind and that their definition for the global. So as I feel, it is the initial stage of globalization of Korean startup.
Yeah, it's great to hear the amount of government support, not just in what you just mentioned, but throughout this conversation. And I think that's very important. Whenever a new industry forms in a country, it really helps to have a supportive government. It helps one to grow the ecosystem, but two to be competitive globally. And it's
Exactly.
amazing to see that the Korean startup ecosystem has some very ambitious goals moving forward. I wanted to go back to one point, if you don't mind, Max. You gave some examples in the energy sector. What about some examples in the food and ag sector that you said that you're excited about?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Oh, wow, wow. Uh, uh, According to our research and our investment thesis, the food security will be the next matters in Korea because yeah, we have a very limitations of the land field, I mean crop field, so and that most of our food and the crops are imported from out of Korea at this moment. So we already have the several portfolios in alternative proteins, as you can easily imagine.
Right.
And but we have been focusing on food waste more. So one of our portfolios are working with AB InBev,
Right.
global top, yeah, beer making the player. So they are utilizing, I mean, recycling the beer waste
Mm,
to make the B2B raw materials. So that they are doing very well in Korea with great support from AB InBev and the other the major food players in Korea.
yeah.
And we are also have great interest in the materials. I mean, bioplastic or
Materials of
biomaterials, yeah,
yeah.
from the food and the agriculture industries. So several are uh, successfully producing PHA. I mean, the 100%, yeah, the biodiversity, the plastic from the food waste, and even they can produce the syngas, including hydrogen from the food waste.
in gas. Yeah.
So we have been strongly focused on that kind of technologies in Korea. Of course, yeah, we have several portfolios in smart pump and outdoor smart pump solutions. As I said, the alternative proteins
Sure.
and even yeah, food distributor utilizing more efficient logistics systems and the cold chain.
Wow. You have a very robust portfolio, it sounds like.
Yeah. That's why yeah, I am very confident in the future of Sopoong Ventures and the future of the Korean, yeah,
Yeah.
the climate.
Fantastic. So, Max, we're just about running up against time here. I wanted to thank you once again. We had a very fascinating discussion about your own journey, about Korean opportunities in Korea, about opportunities in Southeast Asia, different themes you're looking at investing in, and some great, deal flow. Look, as a last word, is there anything you'd like to just conclude with? Any last statement or thoughts you would have for our audience?
Oh, of course. And yeah, before we wrap up, yeah, I would like to express my appreciation for having me today, and that it was great, yeah, opportunities to remind what we have been doing. So thanks for your
You're
this
welcome. It was a
yeah
pleasure
for
having you here.
preparing this yeah the event. For whole audience, I'd like to add the huge opportunities in the future. As a venture capitalist and the former serial entrepreneur, I always thought huge problems means huge market.
Hmm.
So if we can be a pioneer and the first mover in solving specific and big social problem, we can hold huge opportunities earlier than other competitors and the VCs.
Yeah.
But many of people who remember about 15 years ago and the 20 years ago of the huge failure of investment in the renewable energy sector.
Hmm. I do remember. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to yeah mention the specific name, but there are very famous yeah the failure story in the especially in the Silicon Valley regarding the renewable energy investment. But as I feel in the outer environment and the regulations and the global standard have been totally yeah changed compared to before. With that, I think we can see the minimum levels and the minimum size of market already.
Yeah.
So the next what we should do is to create, I mean, link with this huge problem to the huge market. Oh, there is a pause. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask for participating, solving climate crisis
Hmm.
with the great returns. So
Love it.
let's do that.
That's a
Yeah,
great
let's do it
message.
together.
That's a great message. Look, once again, thank you very much, Max. And it was a pleasure speaking with you. Um, and we will look forward to future collaborations and more great news coming out of
Yes.
Korea.
Yeah. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Max.
Thank you for today. Yeah. Bye.